What's good, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are at Cooper's Rock. Cooper's Rock is a popular hiking destination here in West Virginia, and it holds significance to me because I never hiked when I was 440 pounds. So to be here right now is awesome. And I thought it would be a nice backdrop to some heavy topics today. A few weeks back, I did a video on the positive things about losing 220 pounds. And today I want to talk about the negatives to weighing 440 pounds. Let's get into it. Come join me. Like I said, I used to come here to Cooper's Rock with my family and friends, and I remember every time I would go with a group of people, I would always be that person who would be 20 feet behind, out of breath, sweaty, and ready to die. So it's funny to be here now, and it's like actually enjoyable for me to be here. And I guess that would be my first negative thing about weighing 440 pounds was the lack of energy, the lack of mobility from doing the day-to-day life activities. Like the biggest thing that stands out to me was in high school. My high school was 4 stories tall, and I had a class on the first floor, we called it the pit, and my next class was on the 4th floor, the very top. So I would after class, I would walk from the 1st floor up to the 4th floor, and I would dread that every day. It'd be one of the first things that I thought about is, you gotta walk up 4 flights of stairs today. And it's just, by the time that I got to the top of that staircase every day, I was the kid who had notoriously had a paper towel to dab my sweat because I was sweaty, out of breath, stinky, and it's just, that stuff I hated. And even when it came down to walking on flat surfaces, I was out of breath constantly. And I think where it came to a head was when I was at home laying down. I would get out of breath and uncomfortable just from rolling over in my bed. And I was like, are you really out of breath rolling over? Like, that's not okay. So even resting took energy, and yeah, that's not fun. And obviously when you are that heavy, you have that lack of energy. And another component to that is you don't feel like doing anything. So when your friends invite you to something, when your family invites you to something, you don't want to do it. So you end up self-isolating yourself from your own friends and family. And that leads you into a whole bunch of other issues. So the lack of energy also feeds into, of course, your mental health. And I guess the second thing that I would say, if I'm being honest, that I hated about weighing 440 pounds is what I looked like physically. Of course, when you're looking in the mirror, you don't necessarily love what you're seeing in the mirror because you're seeing the double chin, the belly folds, the love handles, I don't know, like the big gut. And it's just, you don't feel like you're being your best self physically. You don't feel confident. And I always just hated that. I remember being at 440 pounds and I would obsess over my skincare routine because I was like, your face is the only thing you got going for you, kid. So you need to have it on point, I guess, which is just a very toxic way to talk to yourself and a very toxic view to like speak to yourself. And that's probably why I was in that pit for so long, is because I wasn't giving myself the self-love, the self-encouragement that I really needed to, help myself get out of this. Because really, when you're at that point and you're at that heavy and you're that low, you are the only person who's going to really get yourself out of that pit. And obviously, like I said, with the self-isolation, with the negative self-talk, that leads you into a little bit of a depression that heightens my anxiety at the time. It made me incredibly insecure. And so I would lash out to people at times. I would be negative and not fun to be around all the time. But that would lead into my third point, which is the mental aspect of it all. It really affects your mental weighing that much. if you're not comfortable in who you are, not being able to have the energy to go out, enjoy the fresh air like this. All those little things cause sadness over time. It's just the reality, or at least it was my reality. So about 4 to 5 years ago, I was by far at my darkest place I ever was in my life. And that was largely to do with my size, with my lifestyle choices. I always just felt like a failure every day because I would always say, you know what, Monday, you're gonna get in the gym. Monday, you're gonna turn your life around. You're gonna get healthy. You're not going to look like this. You're gonna be able to go out. You're gonna be able to do what your friends and family are doing. And you're just gonna like be able to actually live life. And that was my biggest thing. I always in my head pictured, oh, I wanna live life. I wanna live life. I'll live life starting Monday. I'll live life starting after the weekend, after Christmas, the next year. And it's just never happened. So every morning I would just feel like I was in a constant circle of misery, I guess. I guess the fourth negative thing that would be the whole addiction aspect to it. Like I was flat out addicted to food. I remember at my heaviest, I was getting to the point to where I was just eating faster, like eating so fast because I wanted to eat before I got full, which is just so toxic to think about. Like I would get a whole pizza or like 5 burgers and I would scarf them down because I knew the second I took that first bite, it was a race against the clock for me to get full. So I was trying to eat, and I knew, oh, you only got 5 more minutes before you're stuffed. And so it was getting to a point to where it was really toxic and sick, and I wasn't even enjoying the food anymore. I was just wanted to feel stuffed. I don't really know how to explain it. It really was just pretty dark and pretty sad, I guess. And obviously when you're eating like that, that leads me to my fifth and final negative or scary thing. And that is, I finally went to the doctor and got my blood work done, and they let me know that I was pre-diabetic, and that if I continued to eat that way, if I continued to not exercise, not prioritize my health, that I would be put on medications. And the reason why I thought something was even up, and the reason why I went to the doctor, was one, I needed it done. I needed a physical done for the program that I was in for school. And two, I started noticing physical changes that were scary. I started to notice blood in my urine and protein in my urine. And then two, the back of my neck started to be dark. I noticed that it was very, very black. And I heard that was due to a lot of insulin in my blood. And so my A1C results came back and they were crazy high. Well, not crazy high, they were in pre-diabetes range. At the time, I was in my early 20s and I was already dealing with this kind of health issues. And the doctor would tell me it would only get increasingly harder as I aged. And I knew I didn't want to get to the point that I was on medications or have to do anything drastic like surgeries or things like that, because I knew I could control my health. It's not something that was out of my control. The reason why my numbers were like this, the reason why there was protein in my urine, was because of my lifestyle. And so that was the most discouraging part of it. And obviously, I guess that is the number one negative thing to weight gain is you can die. You can literally die. No one can live if you are 500 pounds and consuming thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of calories a day. So it was getting to the point that it was extremely scary. It was scary for me. It was scary for my family. And loved ones didn't really know how to tell me that, okay, we understand that we can't control your weight or can't control how you look, but something needs to change. And it took a minute for it to finally click for me, but I think once I got to the point of the doctor telling me that it was actually affecting my health and I would actually have to change my lifestyle from the doctor's standpoint, I knew I had to finally change it up. I guess to end this, I would just say I am grateful that it finally did click for me. And for anyone out there who were suffering or who is suffering like I was, and you do feel the sense of hopelessness, or you feel like you're in too deep to change, know that that's not the reality. You can change your life at any point. And it does seem like when you do need to lose hundreds of pounds, that you'll never be able to reach that without surgery or medication or medical intervention, and that's just not the truth. If you have the will and the drive, you can do it, and that's not a make-believe, that's not just like a fake fairy tale. You can do it, trust me. And next thing you know, you're gonna look back at that time period in your life and really be proud of yourself. So I am happy that I now can come back here, a place where I historically have always struggled and hated coming here because I knew it just meant a day full of walking, exercising. Now I can come here and actually be happy and, you know, still be tired, still need to sit down and take a break, but overall be happy and start living life and attacking life in a whole new way that I never thought that I actually could. All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in to another video. As always, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you can see future content. And I will see you next week.